Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today I want to talk to you about my favorite trope, enemies to lovers. So if you don't follow me on TikTok, I started a series called Talk Tropey to Me. You can thank Heather from Hia Booktube. She came up with the name and that's what people voted for. But every week on that series I talk about a different trope, and this past week I was listening to an audiobook and I realized that even though I love enemies to lovers, I think it is superior, there are some issues that I have with it. So I want to discuss them and see if you all feel the same way. Before we do that though, it's actually kind of funny that I like enemies to lovers as much as I do, because for me personally, if I hate you with a burning passion, the chances of you ever getting me to love you are very slim. I'm not a very forgiving person, so the fact that this is somehow my favorite trope is interesting. That being said, I'm not exactly sure what it is about enemies to lovers that I love so much. Is it slowly seeing them start to realize that they have feelings for each other and trying to fight those feelings with everything in them? I don't know, but for whatever reason, I enjoy it. So while I do really love friends to lovers, I realize that there are certain aspects of it that kind of irritate me sometimes. The first one is when they've been enemies for a really long time and then we're trying to figure out why they're enemies, and it has something to do with some form of miscommunication. Y'all know I hate miscommunication with a burning passion. So when they've been enemies for like 10 years and then they finally have a conversation and it's like, oh, well, I thought you didn't like me. Oh, well, I thought you didn't like me. So we've been doing all this for no reason? No reason at all. There's no valid reason. That doesn't work for me. I need there to be a reason. I need there to be history. However, the reason, while it needs to be valid, still needs to be something that at least they can make up for or that is forgivable. On the other hand, another thing I hate is, and this typically happens with a female main character and a male love interest, when the male love interest like purposely goes out of his way to do things to piss off the main character just to get a rise out of her, just to get a response, just because he knows it pisses her off. And in some cases, I feel like that gives I'm mean to you because I like you vibes, and no. We don't support that over here, especially in situations where he's like, oh, I've actually had a crush on her for all this time, but instead of just saying that and using my words like a fucking adult, I keep pissing her off. Like, come on now, grow up. Otherwise, I love that shit. I don't know why. Maybe it's also, I realized recently that I think I like groveling, but it's got to be done well. Like, I love like a huge romantic gesture, which is funny because I'm not sure I would like that in real life. Anyway, I love a good grand gesture and like begging for forgiveness, begging to be taken back. And I don't know. I really like it. I really like it. So, couple book recommendations that I have for if you are a fan of friends to lovers. First one is Sweet Hand. This is the first book in the Island Bite series, and this we're following Charisse, who is a baker. Don't remember the guy's name. He's a music producer and they've hated each other for a very long time, but they have to work together because they are the maid of honor and best man in Charisse's sister's wedding. Then I have The Trouble with Hating You by Sachin Patel. This is the first book, and I guess it's just The Trouble with Hating You duology for now. Potentially going to be a longer series later on. But in this we have Leah, who does not want to be married, but her parents keep trying to set her up. One day her parents invite her over for dinner, but it's actually a matchmaking session with Jay. Leah realizes what's happening, so she bolts, but she ends up running into Jay. They have an interaction that is not pleasant at all, and then surprise, surprise, they end up having to work together. So the hate in this one is real. It is palpable. You can feel it. However, while I did end up enjoying this, there are some things about this one that I really like and some that I dislike. There's a scene in here where Jay kind of goes out of his way to sort of humiliate Leah, and it's at work. That scene really turned me off to him. I did not think that I was going to root for them to be together. He definitely proves himself in the end, but that scene really irked me because it felt unnecessary. Like, it felt like he was just being petty, and for it to take place in a work environment, it just really turned me off to him. However, there are other things going on, and the way he stands up for her it was beautiful. It was fantastically done. I really loved it. So this one I kind of went back and forth on while I was reading it, but overall I really enjoyed it. I think I gave this 4, maybe 4.5 stars, but I definitely want to read the next book in the series as well. Then there is The Hookup Plan, which recently came out. This is the final book in the Boyfriend Project series. In this one, we're following London Kelly, who goes to her, I want to say maybe 10-year high school reunion or something. And she runs into her arch nemesis of 15 years. So they have hated each other since high school. They've always been in competition, always considered each other rivals. Of course, they end up falling in love. This one is an example of when the love interest like specifically does things to piss off the main character, even though secretly he has feelings for her and he's hiding them. So that really pissed me off. However, there was a little bit of groveling. He did have to earn some forgiveness, and honestly, this could have been a 5-star read if he had groveled more. In my opinion, he could have done a lot more, but I ended up liking him in the end, and that's all that really matters. So let me know what book recommendations you have that have friends to love, no, not friends to lovers, enemies to lovers. Let me know what some of your favorite books with enemies to lovers are. Let me know how you feel about this trope. Someone commented, I think it was Anya, that said she didn't like enemies to lovers, and I was like, how could you hurt me like that? How could you say that to me? But whether you agree with me or disagree, let me know, and let me know why. If you don't like it, tell me why. I want to know. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like a bully romance type person. If you like actually hurt me or like physically abuse me, I'm not gonna root for y'all to be together, but that's a whole different trope. But let me know how you feel about enemies to lovers, if you agree with me or not. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.